I'm back, and we're going to be discussing Ohio State versus Texas. It's not getting more simple than that. This is played in Arlington. It's the Cotton Bowl, played down in Texas on Friday, if you didn't know. Today is currently Monday. I'm recording this video, so I might post today, I might not, I don't know. But these two teams could have not had more different playoff games last round, possibly. Could have not had more different games. Oregon and Ohio State was a complete another blowout, which was not expected by anyone to the capacity that it was. If you thought Ohio State was going to win by 2 touchdowns, fine. Maybe by 20 points, that's okay. Not many people were saying that, but no one thought 34-0 by midway in the second quarter. They made the number 1 team in the country look like an FCS school. They made them look horrible. That was their biggest lead in the first half I think they've had over any team in the entire country that they've played, which is saying a lot because they start off the year with a really easy schedule. Ohio State is on a tear right now, comparable to what peak LSU and Alabama is right now. Beating Tennessee by 20 plus points and then beating Oregon by 20 plus points. That are 2 good defenses. And Oregon had a very solidified offensive player, Dillon Gabriel, who finished 3rd in the Heisman voting. And he will look confused. He's had the most starts in the entire history of college football, and he looked bamboozled back there. The O-line looked like what they did against Idaho. They could not get open. They put on a masterclass of getting Jeremiah Smith the ball, Ohio State did. It was a phenomenal job on their part. Emeka Egbuka did his thing. TreVeyon Henderson just big play touchdowns. Their drives weren't taking long. They took like 5 to 6 plays to get touchdowns. Usually a drive that's dominant, a team that's dominant throughout the game will probably get like 8-10 play drives going on and just solidify the game just throughout the entire bit. They hit them hard time and time and time and time again. That was something we were not expecting. I don't think anyone was. Jeremiah Smith is looking like the best freshman wide receiver I have ever personally have seen. Closest comparison is maybe Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper did not have the route running quite like Jeremiah Smith at getting him open, but also this team, just Jeremiah Smith's one-on-one ability to go up and get the ball is top 5 in the country, and he might be top 3 in just one-on-one go up and getting it. He might be number 1. I don't think so, but he's up there. Then you got Texas. Texas went into double overtime, missed 2 field goals that could have won the game for them, had a 4th and 13 that if Arizona State just doesn't decide to sell out on the blitz, maybe they get the stop. I don't know. I would have liked to see what would have happened if they just put 2 safeties deep, rush 4, man-to-man, everything else. I don't know what would have happened, but it would have been a lot more interesting than seeing a 7-man rush, one-on-one, everything else, against a great offensive line that Texas has. Good offensive line Texas has. Quinn Ewers, Texas fans are not happy with him right now. It's the exact opposite. Will Howard, they're at peak love for the guy, Ohio State fans are, and Quinn Ewers, it's not great. He almost cost them the game at some points, but he made some good throws too. The thing about Quinn Ewers, sometimes if you expect perfection, you're not going to get it from Quinn Ewers. But the thing about Quinn Ewers is a lot more is tougher on him than anyone else. That you're allowed to make mistakes of your other team's quarterbacks, but whenever you got a Manning sitting right behind you that we saw a bit of throughout the year, I could not help but think that fans are wanting to see what he can do because we saw what he can do whenever you make mistakes. And it's like, oh, I made one mistake. Yeah, you threw a big-time interception that led to a touchdown which tied the game. That's a pretty big-time situation to throw a pick in. It's just bad timing. You can throw a pick in the first quarter and be okay. You can't throw one in the fourth quarter when you're up by 8. You can't be doing that. They almost blew the game, but overall, throughout the entire game, they were dominating. The defense did very, very good. Held them up in the goal line. Did not allow a touchdown. I mean, they only allowed 6 points. Their defense did. And Cam Thibodeaux was phenomenal throughout the entire day, which is going to be a problem for Texas in my mind because they're having to play against TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. TreVeyon Henderson has definitely been the main back. If you watch these playoffs, he's been the main guy for big play threats and everything, especially from the run game. But with both guys in the backfield, you cannot take either of them lightly. Those are very, very tough guys to guard. And overall, the defense looked really, really good for Texas until midway in the fourth quarter when Cam Thibodeaux again took over the entire game, throwing the ball, catching the ball, running the ball. And again, when you're playing a team like with Quinshon Judkins and TreVeyon Henderson, that's not going to be easy to handle. Mainly TreVeyon Henderson, because he can run through you and he can run around you, and he can just outrun you if he needs to. With Texas, there were inconsistencies of getting open, but they had a lot of big plays. They had a very good start to the game. and then he had a big punt return for a touchdown. Their offense was not consistently producing. That was the thing. They were consistently producing, and they had some bad spots, but they had some nice plays too. So, is against Ohio State, will you get those looks? Probably not. You probably won't get those exact same looks, especially since you laid them out for them against Arizona State and against Clemson, how they're going to play out. And even against Clemson, it was a pretty close game. It was a two possession game. Clemson at the 1 yard line and just couldn't get it in. Was your best bet is not to run right at Texas's front line. You got to run around them. The problem for them, again, is that Ohio State will willingly do that. Like, they're usually teams like to go up the middle, then work out. Texas's front line is great at stopping runs up the middle. Problem for them is that, again, they're great at getting out. They don't run the ball up the middle a lot for Ohio State. It's a lot of motions, a lot of just hit in the flat, go type of things that make you work the field. Can you guard Jeremiah Smith? That's a number one thing. Probably not. No one's been able to. Ohio State's been able to get the pass. Has been able to handle the pass rush very well. And has been able to get after the pass very well. The coverage is playing at an all-time high. This is the team that they wanted to see, and this team's already pissed off already from what happened against Michigan. Their fans are mad. Everyone's mad. And with the way they're playing right now, the way we've seen them play, I don't see a way that even Sark could figure out a way to get past his offense and get past his defense, mainly. For Ohio State, JT Tuimoloau was playing great. Jack Sawyer just took over the game in the third quarter and throughout the entire time, but you could just watch him play. And the left and the right tackles for Oregon could just not stop him. He had like 2-3 sacks in a quarter. You don't get that from a lot of players. And Ohio State's middle and the linebackers are playing great. Secondary is playing very high level. Caleb Downs is jumping on every short pass imaginable. So if you're trying to run a bunch of slants on this team, it's not going to work. It's just not going to, because Caleb Downs is going to jump that thing. I'm not sure if he's going to turn it for no touchdown, but you're not going to get a good play out of it. I've been talking crap on Ohio State a lot throughout the year. They're playing to the peak level that they could. And that's why a lot of people were harsh on them throughout the entire year, because they knew the potential of this team. They knew how great they could be. They just weren't locking into the level that they could. Their best game is better than anyone else's best game, and it's clearly shown. But they weren't playing their best game. They weren't even playing their B game a lot. They were a lot of times playing their C and D game. That's why they had close games against Nebraska, close times against Iowa, losses to Michigan, because they weren't playing their A game. Now they are. They're playing an elite level game, and no one else can match it. When 13-0 Oregon, who already beat them early in the year, who are the Big Ten champions, who's right now the toughest conference in the country, loses by 20-plus points to you, and it was down 34-8 at half, barely 34-8 at half, then, like, what do you do with that? I don't know how you pick against Ohio State for this game. I mean, these people are going to have to show up great for Texas. Their offensive line's going to have to be great. Quinn Ewers going to have to ball out like he did against Washington last year. This defense has to hold Ohio State under 35. If you want to hope to win this game, it's got to be under 35. And of how they're playing right now, that's almost impossible to do, because they've been slowing up in the fourth quarter. If they really put pedal to the metal against Tennessee and Oregon, they probably could have got at least 45, 50 bare minimum, because they were putting their third, fourth string quarterbacks in against Tennessee and putting in some backups against Oregon, because he didn't need to play them the entire game. That's what I'm thinking about this game. That's how I feel. I see Ohio State winning this game 41-17. I don't think this game's going to be close. I got Ohio State guns blazing, running through this team. I don't care about home field advantage if it's in Texas. Ohio State fans will travel for a team like this. If they're producing to this level, they will travel. If they're not producing, they won't travel. They're not one of those fan bases that just travel for everything. If your team's not producing, if they're producing, they will be there, and they're producing at the highest level we've seen Ohio State team produce probably since the Justin Fields team, I would say. But this team's playing phenomenal on both sides of the ball. We'll see what happens this game. I don't think there's a lot of hope for Texas in this game. Sark's going to have to do something incredible, and this defense got to hold up great. Put out in the comments your opinions about this. Have a great day, y'all. Stay safe. Remember, God bless y'all.